The following program, Live and Learn, is made possible by Aging Partners. Find out more on their website.
Hello everyone and welcome to Live and Learn. I'm your host, Jerry Renaud. It is springtime and that means it's time to get outside, do some gardening, get some stretching and some walking going on. And of course it means a whole new set of fitness classes through Aging Partners. We want to tell you all about those classes. And the new coordinator for health and fitness at Aging Partners, Karen O'Hara, will be here to talk about it, and we'll have a little demonstration with Tracy Foreman as well. Don't go away.
Hi everybody, my name's Kim Hachio. Welcome to Live and Learn. Stay with us because we're going to talk about commencement at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln and how it's changed over the years and what to expect now.
Hello, I'm Bill Ainsley, your host for this segment of Live and Learn. Today we're going to be throwing you a lifeline, or maybe three of them, so stay tuned to find out how they might save your life.
Hello everyone and welcome to Live and Learn. I'm your host, Jerry Renaud. Today we're going to have a fun conversation about radio and television, where it's been and where it's going. Our guest today is going to be University of Nebraska-Lincoln broadcasting professor Rick Alloway. Don't go away.
This and more on today's Live and Learn.
There you see a great example of one of the great fitness classes that you can get through Aging Partners. Hello and welcome to Live and Learn. I am your host, Jerry Renaud. It is springtime, and one of the things, of course, that means is a new set of health and fitness classes offered through Aging Partners, and we want to tell you about those great opportunities today. And here to join us to give us all of that great information is Karen O'Hara. She is the Fitness and Health Coordinator at Aging Partners. Welcome.
Thank you, Jerry.
I've never had the opportunity to interview before, so this is great. Tell me a little bit about yourself and how did you end up at this fabulous position?
Okay, well, my background is in law. I'm an attorney. I practiced law for several years, and then I transitioned to working more with some low-income populations. I worked at hospitals and different agencies. I've been at Aging Partners for about 6 years. I've been managing the health and fitness department for a little over a year now. And
okay,
yeah.
Very good. Having fun?
Yeah, we love it. Things were fully reopened and things going strong.
It's just a wonderful program. I'm lucky to be a part of it just in a small way. All right, let's talk about the classes. The first one is a great one. It's called Dance for Life. And it's kind of just what it sounds like, right?
Yeah.
It's lots of fun, and you get a good workout, and you get a dance.
Absolutely. Tracy Foreman is our Dance for Life instructor, and she's been doing this for so long, and she's just a wonderful instructor. She starts off with a gentle warm-up, and then she moves on to dance moves. She does line dancing. She plays oldies. It's just a lot of fun. The class incorporates strength work with cardio, and then some nice, cool down exercises afterwards. It's one of our most popular classes. People really love it.
Great, and we see that it's offered on Wednesday from 10:30 to 11:30, and that's at the Auld Pavilion. Mm-hmm. It is underway as this program is airing in May, but that doesn't mean that you can't still get involved in it if you're interested.
Absolutely. Anyone who wants to join can call 402-441-7575 to register for classes. So we would be happy to have people join even after the class has started.
And I know one thing everybody's always worried about is, oh, I don't know how to dance. I don't know how to do a line dance. Now, Tracy's really good about taking everybody through that, right?
She is so good, and nobody needs to feel self-conscious. It's just a lot of fun. And if people are self-conscious about exercising or dancing in front of other people, there's Zoom options too, so people can do it at home, and nobody can see you if you're self-conscious about that. But one thing that's nice about our exercise classes is it's a judgment-free zone. People really enjoy it, and they don't need to worry about how they look or whether they can dance or not. It's just about having fun.
And that's a nice option. The in-person is nice, but the Zoom, there are lots of people out there who are liking the Zoom option.
Yeah, they don't need to leave the house, and you can still get a good workout in. And we try to offer those options anytime we can, and people really do enjoy having that as an option if they want to you know, stick around the house.
Yeah, my wife took one and she said, I don't want anybody to see me, so she turned the video off. So I guess that's an option as well if you really want to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Let's talk about the Qigong Refresh and Recharge. This is really one of my favorite ones. I do it a couple of times a week. I just think it's a great class. Tell everybody who doesn't really know what's going on with that one, what they can expect.
So yeah, Qigong is also taught by Tracy Foreman, and she's really good at what she does. I mean, it's always a really fun class. It's an ancient martial art that's basically done in slow motion. It improves your focus, your mental and physical health. It kind of slows people down and allows you to do these slow, gentle movements that will strengthen your body, strengthen your mind, but it doesn't really feel like exercise. It's more of just a very slow motion, almost like a dance routine. It's very peaceful, and people really do enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a really nice class. You start in the chair, and we do some very nice, easy warm-ups and some stretching and some breathing exercises, and then we stand up and work a lot on balance and, again, more stretching kinds of things. It's really become a popular class. It's being offered 3 different times during the week now.
Yes, it's a very popular class, and we're really happy to offer it because people really do get a lot out of that class.
And so we have it on Zoom on Mondays, and I think it's from 10 to 11. And then I think on Wednesdays is at Irving Rec Center, is that correct? And then on Thursdays it's at
St. Mark's.
St. Mark's. Okay,
Yes.
very good. So yeah, it's 3 different times, and you're certainly welcome to do more than one, right?
Oh, absolutely. We encourage people, if they enjoy it, to sign up for more than one class if they like.
Yeah, it's a great class. Okay, let's talk about what's next. Is it chair yoga, or am I missing one somewhere? Oh, I think I turned a couple of pages. Let's talk about the Tai Chi classes.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, there's Tai Chi for arthritis and fall prevention.
Yes.
We want to make sure people understand that we're not confused. There's several options for this one.
Absolutely. So historically, we've taught a class called Tai Chi Moving for Better Balance. We've had 2 different levels of that, but we have, because Tai Chi Moving for Better Balance, the program has changed. We're going to be going with a different program called Tai Chi for Arthritis and Falls Prevention. It still offers the same benefits, the Tai Chi benefits that the Moving for Better Balance offered, but this is the one that we're going to go with moving forward. So we're moving forward with Tai Chi for arthritis and falls prevention and kind of phasing out the Tai Chi moving for better balance. But people will still have a ton of Tai Chi classes available in the future. So we'll have a couple of beginners class for the Tai Chi for arthritis and falls prevention starting this summer. And then for people who still want to take the Tai Chi Moving for Better Balance, we do have an advanced level class that we'll be teaching this summer, and it may or may not be the last one that we teach at that particular class, the Tai Chi Moving for Better Balance, because we are phasing that one out. But we're excited to teach people the new one. It's good for people. Not only you don't have to have arthritis, it's also really good for fall prevention, so it can help with a couple of different things. It can help ease arthritis pain and help with fall prevention. It's an evidence-based program, and we're really excited to offer it.
And the one that's coming up is the level 2, so it does have a little bit of a restriction. You do have to have gone through level 1, because the Tai Chi is there's 8 forms that are a part of it to do those things.
Yes, and so if you've had a lot of experience doing Tai Chi Moving for Better Balance, the level 2 is for people who who are much more comfortable with the forms. If you're not comfortable with the forms, then you should take one of the beginning classes, which would be the Tai Chi for arthritis and falls prevention.
Right, very good. And again, the Tai Chi Aging Partners has offered the 24 form in the past, but apparently we're just not quite ready to put that back on.
Yep, that's a class that we offer on occasion. The Tai Chi for arthritis and falls prevention is generally our main class, but we'll sometimes offer some different ones like the 24 form. So look for that on the schedule in the future. We'll have it on there again at some point.
Very good. Okay, and last but not least, let's talk about chair yoga. This is, I think, really one of the more popular classes. It's a great class.
It really is. It's a very, very gentle form of yoga. It's perfect for beginners if you've never done yoga. I think some people think that you're sitting in a chair the whole time. That's not how it works. Basically, a chair is just used as part of the class. Sometimes you'll hold on to the chair for balance. Sometimes you'll be sitting in the chair. It's just used as a creative prop to make these classes for available and accessible to everybody. It's a really, really wonderful class, very relaxing, and we're going to continue to offer that one moving forward. People really do enjoy it.
Yeah, and this one doesn't start until, it started earlier this month. So May 4th is when it starts, and will run into the summer, right?
Yes, the chair yoga starts May 4th and goes through July 27th.
Very cool. Okay, now what we do want to do is to, Tracy Foreman and I got together. We're going to give a little demonstration of a couple of these classes, but just quick before we get there, there was a small piece in the Living Well magazine, which I really thought was interesting, and there's lots of important things a part of it. It was tips for having more energy boosting your energy levels. And we don't need to go through the whole thing, but there were a couple of them that I thought were really interesting. And the first one was drinking 2 glasses of water a day, extra.
Extra, yeah. I mean, we can all use some more water. So if you start your day off with a couple extra glasses of water, you're going to be ahead of the game. We also would recommend that people eat breakfast every day. It can get your metabolism started. Try to get a few ounces of lean protein in at every meal.
Great.
Try to stretch for a few minutes before you get out of bed.
Yeah, that's one we sort of forget about sometimes, is just even as you wake up, just try to get your muscles going a little bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Another one is to try to get some outdoor time. We can use the vitamin D and the exercise, so try to get outdoors for 10 minutes every day. Even if it's cold out, just try to get out there just for a few minutes. Call somebody you love every day. We forget about how important it is to connect instead of sitting on our phones, to just give somebody a call. I mean, we really, it's something that I think a lot of people neglect to do, but it's the one thing I think a lot of people regret if they don't do it on a regular basis.
Yeah, I think that's a great one. I really, really do like that one, and we get busy with our lives, and we sort of forget about that. Time moves along, but we really should at least stop once in a while and think about somebody we haven't talked to and give them a quick call.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk about the fitness center.
Oh, absolutely.
Just very quickly. The fitness center is up and operating. It's going great guns, and you've got trainers there. And tell us a little bit, just quickly, about the fitness center.
Okay, so the Aging Partners Health and Fitness Center is open from 8 to 4 Monday through Friday. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have personal trainers available by appointment. So if you want to call 402-441-7575, you can set an appointment for a personal trainer on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We have strength equipment, we have cardio equipment, we have a bunch of different other types of equipment. Basically, we're open to anybody. People who are over the age of 60, we have a suggested contribution of $10 per month. If people are under the age of 60, there's a $15 a month required fee.
Okay, and it's about as inexpensive as you can get to really have a place that has great equipment, and it's really a great workout.
It's a wonderful place. We're really happy to provide those equipment and the services to people.
Wonderful. All right, well, let's try our little demonstration here. Tracy Foreman and I got together in her little private studio, and so here's a quick little demonstration of some of the things that you might see at these classes. As promised, we are in the studio with Tracy Foreman, who is a personal fitness trainer and also a health educator for Aging Partners. Tracy, thanks for being with us today. We're going to go through a couple of some exercises that we might get in the classes. I'll let you take it away.
All right. Well, I always tell people, nice solid chair, move to the center of that chair. We want to keep our back away so our core is working. And let's begin with our breath. Let's just inhale up a couple times. Doing our roll breath from the stomach up through the diaphragm and into the chest. Inhale, pull it up. Exhale, and when you come down on that exhale, let's rest our hands on our knees and move into a torso circle. We're going to warm up our torso muscles here, our core muscles, stretching out our back. So get the crown of your head reaching out there and then tilting back. And let's go the other way.
And these are nice because these would be both probably a part of some early Qigong
Yes.
stretches, but also the chair yoga does some really nice stretching exercises.
Great warm-ups for any type of exercise that you're going to be doing, and Aging Partners does all kinds of different exercises.
Let's try a couple standing up.
Okay,
and,
all right. Let's use our breath as we stand, and then we'll stand. Actually, we don't probably need our chair. If you need a chair, though, for support, then you'll do that. So let's go ahead and do what's called calm walk. Bringing your hands to your chest, stepping out, heel down first, rotating those hands down and stretching through your spine. Great balance exercise. And then rock back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Let's switch feet and switch hands. Other way and come forward. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale, and let's step that foot back, and then we'll go into bringing your feet wide, what's called knocking on the door of life. So thumping at your shoulder and mid-row muscles in the back. We're just doing a little gentle thump here. This is a great warm-up for whatever type of exercise you're doing.
Yeah, this is a great one, and it sort of moves into another little thumping one. It's pretty much all the time we have. Let's talk quickly about the classes. Several are underway. A few more are not going to meet until June.
That's right. We've got several classes in the community now and some coming up in June. And we've also got some evidence-based programs. Call the number 402-441-7575 for more information.
Tracy, thank you so much. And we do want to thank Karen O'Hara, who was our guest this week. She's the new Aging Partners Fitness and Health Coordinator. And thanks to all of you for tuning in today. Stay safe, stay healthy, and remember, it's never too late to live and learn.
Vulnerable and senior adults might be living in silent fear of elder abuse and financial exploitation. We can do something about it. The Nebraska DHHS recommends that communities maintain and improve resources such as public transportation and senior centers to prevent social isolation. Engage professionals in various disciplines to find solutions to end elder abuse. Every year, June 15 is observed as World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, an opportunity to ensure justice for all.
Hi everybody, welcome to Live and Learn. My name is Kim Hachia. It's great we're back in the studio again, which is awesome. I want to send a big shout out to Dave Norris with Aging Partners and to Bo Wolf, who's our producer director today. And this is going to be really fun. My guest today is a really good friend of mine, Annette Wetzel, former colleague from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Annette is the Director of Special Events and Protocol at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. And we're going to be talking about commencement because Annette knows a lot about the history of commencement at the university, and she's kind of in charge of the whole big thing. So Annette, welcome.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. I know that you sent some really cool images of historic commencements. Tell me a little bit about why you know about the history of commencement at UNL.
Well, I was hired to actually plan commencement. So I've been planning commencement since 1999. But during that time, I was also finishing my master's degree, and I needed to do something I was really interested in. And I had found that there was no history really done of commencement. So I took it from the very beginning to the present day.
At the very beginning, even though the university was founded in 1869, we didn't open until 1871. So the first graduates were what year?
The first commencement was 1872, but we didn't have any graduates.
Oh, okay.
It was actually an honorary degree for Bishop Clarkson of Omaha. And it wasn't until 1873 we had 2 graduates. And William Snell and James Stuart Dales. And James Stuart Dales would become a real fixture in Lincoln. He actually followed the chancellor from Ohio to Nebraska to marry his daughter. Ooh. Yeah, a little scandal there. But he actually became the first president of the alumni organization.
Oh, I knew that.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
But the newspaper actually said of the first commencement that the first graduating class was 11 feet, 1 inches, and 260 pounds. So they combined.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So then where did they hold commencements at the time, and then how did that kind of change?
They started at University Hall in the chapel, and then as they started to outgrow it, then they would go downtown to the opera houses. So there's Centennial Opera House.
So this is University Hall?
Yes, that's University Hall. And this is a little later. This is probably in the late 1890s, because we didn't start wearing commencement gowns until 1898. And actually, when they first started doing that, the newspaper said it was very inspiring and unusually imposing scene.
Wow. University Hall no longer exists. It's where it was where it's kind of south or northwest of where Sheldon is now.
Correct.
For people to know where that is.
Correct.
So we're looking now at downtown procession, correct?
Right. They're processing from campus to downtown, probably to either one of the churches or to the opera houses. And it was a very public event. I mean, it was a very week-long activities. There was pageants, there was all kinds of things, and it was very imposing scene. And they would have students, well, this is a little later, but at some of the first graduations, they would have students actually get on stage and give orations. That was part of the big part of commencement.
Yikes, it would take all day.
Yeah, it would. So they would actually get up and talk about what they learned.
So this is outside Architecture Hall. You can still see the rock there.
Right.
And this is probably part of the procession.
Right, they're getting ready to probably walk downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there really were no buildings on campus that were large enough. And then about 1926 is when the Coliseum opened, and that's when they started using the Coliseum as the commencement location. So again, they're doing the procession across campus to the Coliseum here.
And this picture probably was taken from the photographer standing on top of the Coliseum.
Correct.
And I bet this was sometime in the 50s, because you can see Love Library, and it didn't open till about the 1945-ish.
Right.
And that is the view of Love Library that we don't see anymore because Love North building is on the grounds there. But you can see the Capitol in the background.
Right. And this is the actual inside of the Coliseum. And they used the stage, and it was really quite an interesting shot. It's a totally different look than what you can experience today.
Yeah, and then from the Coliseum, what happened from there?
The Coliseum, then they went to Pershing for quite a while. And then, they used to do outside commencements during the summer, right outside on Memorial Mall before they went to Pershing. So this was still during the Coliseum days. Mm-hmm. So then they went to Pershing, and then in 1976, they went to Devaney, Bob Devaney Center. And here's the Bob Devaney Center. And the first speaker at the Devaney Center was Gerald Ford.
He was president then? And
he was.
Did they give him an honorary degree? Probably.
I'm sure they did.
Gerald Ford, born in Omaha.
Right.
And that's pretty cool. I remember him being on campus. I would have been a junior then, and I remember somehow seeing him on campus, and he was like walking by Love Library with a big entourage of people.
Yeah. The head marshal at the time, Dr. Roger Mandigo, I asked him about this a little bit, and he said that they actually had to put some of the Secret Service people in cap and gown, and they sat in the front row, so they thought they were graduates, but they're actually Secret Service.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. And then I think we have a picture. So when did we leave? Okay, this is PBA.
Yes.
So when did we leave Devaney?
We left Devaney in 2013. We actually were between the remodel of Devaney and Pinnacle not quite being open yet. So we actually tried an outdoor commencement in May of 2013 and actually got hit by a freak sleet storm that day. And we had to more or less cancel it, and we had to give out diplomas in the Hawks Championship Center. But then we went, August 2013 would have been the first one in Pinnacle. And this actual picture is from our 150th anniversary year in 2019.
Right, it's really beautiful. And so then COVID happens.
COVID happens, and we have virtual celebrations. We actually prepared boxes for each graduate with a hat and a tassel and a letter from the chancellor, and we mailed to every student their diploma, and then we invited them back. And we still have a few people this semester even
Oh, cool.
that are going to walk, but I
Cool.
think most people that have wanted to walk have walked. And
so then Go ahead.
Go ahead. And then we ended up in the stadium last May in 2021. During COVID, we wanted to, space everyone out, and so this was that.
I was at this commencement. I loved it. I know logistically it's kind of a nightmare for everybody, but it was, I loved being back in the stadium. I loved everything about the stadium, the smell, the way it sounds, all of it. And then those ends at the end, those ends going up, I just loved that. I thought that was just fabulous.
It is.
Fabulous. So we have a cool video that Annette's colleagues at the University of Nebraska in University Communications put together. So we're going to run that video about last year's commencement. And then when we'll come back, we'll talk about plans for this year's commencement. So roll that video, please.
Welcome to my station, my friend. Let's go.
I think that video is very cool.
It is.
It's super exciting because it captures sort of the feeling about commencement. You talked once that Dr. Mandigo said it's not about us.
It's a family event. It's all about the family, and because it's really a life event for a lot of people. This is a culmination of hard work of generations. So it's not about us that are actually doing the work. It's about the families and the students.
And one thing I think is cool about being in the stadium, although I know it's a lot of work, is that the students come through the same gate that they came through as freshmen.
They
for
do.
New student enrollment.
They
so
do.
That's very exciting.
They do an actual class picture at the beginning of their freshman semester, and so they run through the gates, and then they form a big N on the field, and so it's a bookend for that experience.
So commencement this year is going to be in the stadium.
It is on May 14th, and this one we are going to put all the colleges together. We're not going to do 2 commencements in the day, so we're going to have up to 2,800 students on the field. We're going to do something a little different. We're going to have 3 stages and run multiple lines so that we're not sitting there all day. But I don't know if a lot of people know, we actually give the diploma for the graduate on stage to them. They're getting their actual diploma, and we're one of the few universities, large universities, that actually do that. So it's a logistical nightmare, but it's well worth it to see their faces when they go across stage and get their actual diploma.
I've always thought that was really interesting. I know that the folks in registration and records, in the registrar's office, really work very hard to make that happen. And then when the graduates are checking in, we have to make sure that they actually do check in so we know the right one. And if you get out of order by one, everybody behind you's messed up. So
that's right. So they get a name number card, their seats are actually numbered, and it's always a magical experience when it all works.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. So what other changes do you think are coming down the line for commencement? We're going to be in the stadium probably now?
Probably. Chancellor would like it to become a tradition that we would do commencement in the stadium in May. But then we'll probably go back to Pinnacle for August and December. But we still will do our graduate commencement in Pinnacle in May for the graduate commencement. So this is only undergraduate. But we have about 83% of our graduates actually walk, which is a huge number compared to a lot of other colleges. And I think it's the fact that we actually give the diploma on stage. So, you know, it's quite a spectacle. I think it'll be really interesting this year because of how many students will actually be on the field.
Right. I mean, 2,700, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a huge number.
It's a huge number to try and get through in order, in line, in a reasonable amount of time so that parents, you know, don't have to sit there for 6 hours.
And we have sort of a rain plan?
We have rain plans. We have like 4 or 5 different kinds of plans. So in fact, we're going to be meeting next week and really trying to cement those plans. So yeah, that's one of the challenges of being outside is, of course, the Nebraska weather.
Right. So is this a public event? Do you have to have a ticket to go, or how does that work?
And no ticketing this year. You know, last year we had to ticket because of COVID, but there's no ticketing. Anyone can come. It's open seating, and you know, come enjoy.
Yeah, I will be there. I signed up to volunteer again because
That's great.
I just enjoy it. I enjoy being around the students. Everybody's excited.
It's a happy, happy day.
It is a happy, happy day.
Mhm.
And last year it was super happy because it just seemed so culminating or something. I don't know. And we'd had a hard
always
year
is.
and it was just awesome. And
Of all the events I do, this has always been my favorite event and what has kept me in my career for so many years.
Yeah, well, you do a beautiful job in that.
Thank
so
you. Thank you. It takes an army of people.
It does, but University of Nebraska just is.
We care about our graduates. We care about commencement.
Yeah.
And have for 150 years.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Well, we're out of time.
All right.
Thank you very
Thank
much for
you.
being my guest today.
You bet.
I want to remind our viewers that it's never too late to live and learn about University of Nebraska commencement.
75% increase in the number of seniors living in our community over the next 15 years. Aging Partners is a community service that provides fitness programs to help keep older adults strong and healthy. This year, Lincoln Cares donations are providing funds for new fitness equipment. You can help make this happen. Sign up to support Lincoln Cares and add $1 to your LES bill each month.
Our guest today is Mitch Sump, the Lifeline Program Manager at Aging Partners. Mitch, welcome to the program today.
Thank you for having me, Bill.
We've all seen these TV ads where someone has fallen down the stairs, they're laying there yelling for help. They might be there for days because no one heard them, no one has checked on them. They don't have an emergency response system help button, and they just might stay there and die. It doesn't have to be that way, because there are devices that can summon help even if the person cannot move. Mitch, would you give us an overview of the Lifeline program at Aging Partners, and then we'll get into information about each device.
Well, thank you. The Lifeline program actually has existed within Lincoln for, since the 70s. And where this started was with St. Elizabeth's Hospital. The Women's Auxiliary noticed that there was a need for some of their patients who were leaving the hospital, needed a little more support. Maybe their family couldn't be with them all the time, or maybe they didn't have family or friends who could look after them. And this is when ERS systems were just starting to become popular. They'd been around since the early 70s, but they really took off in popularity. I think a lot of it had to do with the technology caught up with the cost of producing them, so they became affordable for people. But the Ladies Auxiliary bought the initial 20 units, and they did it with bake sales and various fundraisers like that. And the original people who did the monitoring were volunteers from the Ladies Auxiliary, so that was very nice. As the program grew, they of course got more and more units, and then it became harder and harder to get, do we have a volunteer for this time slot? Do we have a volunteer for this time slot? So they partnered with us, and then eventually when it grew to the size we are now, they got away from it. They gave it to us to manage.
Now let's talk about the 6900, which works through your landline phone.
Okay. The 6900 is our basic unit.
That's the base station.
It's a really solid unit. This one has been in production for going on 40 years now. Hasn't changed all that much except for the design a little bit. Operates through a landline phone, good up to 800 feet, and it can either operate with someone pushing the help button or the reset button as you see on the screen, or by using their button that they wear around either their neck or on their wrist.
So there's the base station, which we just showed. The user wears that waterproof button, and it works, up to 800 feet from the base station. And if you want information on the 6900, Like I say, it works up to 800 feet away. The base price there, the price for the unit is $35 per month. And if you want fall detection, that's $5 extra. So Mitch, how does the fall detection work, and what happens when the user sits in a chair?
All right, well, we have what we call either a controlled fall or a non-controlled fall. And a non-controlled fall is when someone is walking through like a living room, trips on the edge of a sofa, and immediately goes down, flat. These buttons will register a fall if it's a sharp 18-inch or longer drop. Now, if someone has a controlled fall, let's say they start to lose their balance, they are able to slow their descent, where it's not that rapid 18-inch or more fall. That's a controlled fall, and the button won't pick that up. So what we always tell our clients to do is, if they need assistance, even if they have fallen and they're not sure if the fall detect went off, they should push their button. Because it's not going to hurt anything if they push the button a second time, but that way they know for a fact they are going to be getting assistance.
And what are the limiting factors?
Limiting factors on it are distance. As I said, it will work up to 800 feet. Sometimes the construction of the home can affect how effective these are for picking up the button. But the main drawback on any of our systems, the 6900 and the next one we're going to be talking about, is how strong the person's voice is, how good their hearing is. If their base unit is attached to their phone line in the kitchen and they have need assistance in their bedroom and there's a door shut, they're probably not going to be able to communicate with the base unit when the monitoring company comes on.
So it'll be always nice to be able to yell loud if you need to get help.
Exactly.
And what else do you want to say about the 6900?
Just a good solid unit. You had mentioned the monitoring cost of $35 a month. There is no cost for the unit. We lend that to our unit users. So their fee is $35 a month.
And now let's get into the 7250. It has a few more features than the 6900 and will work. Its cell service is available at the user's home. The user does not need to subscribe to cell service in order for this device to work. There is an indicator on the back that tells the strength of the cell signal. The device works if the user is within about 800 feet of the base unit. So the unit works within up to, say, 800 feet from the base unit. The price is $45 per month, and it's $5 extra if you want fall detection. So Mitch, what do you want to do to make sure that the 7250 has a strong enough cell signal that it will work?
The advantage of the 7200 series over the 6900 series, of course, if the users no longer have a landline phone, which is becoming much more common these days, but the biggest advantage is the ease in moving it. You had indicated that on the back we can detect strength of reception. And so if we're in an area of the house and the reception is maybe 2 bars, we can try shifting it around very easily. It's just a matter of turning it off, unplugging it, moving it to a different room in the home. Sometimes just putting it by a window can improve our service dramatically. And the user themselves are able to move that. So if, let's say, they're going to be spending more and more time in the basement, they can just unplug the unit and move it down there themselves.
So why do you think the 7250 is a good choice?
It's just such a simple thing for folks to operate. That's really the best thing about it. Same drawback, though, that you have with the 6900. You're talking through that base unit, so communications can sometimes be an issue.
So your voice is a big deal then.
Yes.
So what else would you like to say about the 7250?
As I said, just a good solid unit. They're becoming more and more popular. It's probably the one I recommend the most when people talk to me. And a lot of times I'm talking to family members of the end users, and they want something that's simple. They're looking to help their parents or their friends reduce costs. So if we can get them this and they no longer need their landline, that's an immediate savings for them every month.
There's also the Go Safe device, which will work wherever there is cell service anywhere in the continental United States. You can talk and listen to the microphone that is in the button. You can take this device with you on your cross-country vacation or just go for a walk in the park. If you call for help, you can be located within a few feet. In our interviews several days ago, you told me about how this worked in the Mall of America.
Yes. A client who was using a Go Safe button, this has been a number of years ago, Went to visit family and friends up in Minneapolis. They went to the mall. This person had had a heart attack previously, recognized the signs that they were having another one, pushed their button while their family went to get mall security. By the time their family got back with mall security, the first responders were already coming through the door from the Go Safe button communications.
That is fast service.
Yes, very fast service.
So you have to pay a little more to get these extra features. The Go Safe device, there's a $150 one-time charge for the button. The fee is $55 per month. There's no extra charge for fall detection with this device, but it won't work very well if you have a pacemaker because it can interfere with the pacemaker. So what would you like to add about the Go Safe device?
It's the Cadillac of our program. If you are still very active, if you still drive, if you still travel, but maybe you have concerns or your family and friends have concerns, this is the button that you want to have. Because as you mentioned, it goes anywhere in the continental United States. If they can pick up a cell phone tower, this will work there.
So the help button for all three of these devices are waterproof and can be worn in the bathtub or the shower. And I also wanted to ask, it's been in the news lately about discontinuing the 3G service for some cell phones. So how has the discontinuation of the 3G cell phone service affected the emergency response devices?
Well, any devices that were produced prior to 2021 had to be replaced because they were all set for the 3G. This would, of course, just be with the 7200 series and the Go Safe because they operate on the cell systems. But in the last 6 months, my team and I, we've replaced 137 units with updated units. The biggest concern I have, though, about the 3G network is there's a lot of options for people to buy these independently. You can get them at various stores, you can get them on Amazon, but they're not supported by anyone locally. And so I'm sure there's a lot of people who are going around secure in their mind that they're okay because they've got this button, but if they haven't tested it since the end of February, they're going to be really surprised because it won't operate because of the 3G network.
So which monitoring service does Aging Partners use for these services, and where are they located, and how do they work with all three devices?
Well, the monitoring is done by Philips Lifeline, which is also who we get our units from. Their call center is in Boston, but don't let that concern you. Average response time is less than 30 seconds for someone talking to the person using it who needs the assistance. With the 6900 and the 7200 series, you can just push the button that you're wearing like this. And of course, with the Go Safe, you push it on there, and then you're communicating with the call center.
So for more information about these devices, please contact Mitch Sump, and it's M-I-T-C-H-S-U-M-P, Lifeline Program Manager, Aging Partners. Call 402-441-8816 or email msump@lincoln.ne.gov. And to top it all off, you don't have to sign any contracts. Everything can be month-to-month payments. I want to thank Mitch Sump for being with us on the program today.
Thank you for having me, Bill.
So Mitch, I think we still have a little bit of time left. What would you like to add?
Well, just that we are a local company working through Aging Partners. If an event should occur where a button goes bad, if a battery dies on your unit, we're going to be able to take care of you right away as opposed to someone mailing you the item to replace it that you then have to do your own system on. The biggest concern, though, with that is parts right now. With everything going on in the world, sometimes we can't get the parts as quickly as we would like to, but we are getting them quicker than most of the independent companies.
We still have a little time left, so I'll repeat your contact information again. It's Mitch Sump, Lifeline Program Manager, Aging Partners, 402-441-8816, msump@lincoln.ne.gov. And remember, folks, it is never too late to use a lifeline and live and learn.
Vulnerable and senior adults might be living in silent fear of elder abuse and financial exploitation. We can do something about it. The Nebraska DHHS recommends that communities maintain and improve resources such as public transportation and senior centers to prevent social isolation. Engage professionals in various disciplines to find solutions to end elder abuse. Every year, June 15 is observed as World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, an opportunity to ensure justice for all.
This is Campus Voices, issues, news, and notes from the campus of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, a public affairs presentation of 90.3 KRNU.
Isn't that a wonderful voice, and probably one that is very familiar to you? Hello everyone, and welcome to Live and Learn. I am your host, Jerry Renaud. Today we're going to be taking a look back at broadcasting locally, and also lots of other influences that have impacted both radio and television over the years. My guest today is someone who has been involved in the media business for, I guess about the last 50 years or so, starting even back when he was in high school. It should be somebody who was familiar to you. His name is Rick Alloway, and he is also a recent recipient of the Nebraska Broadcasters Hall of Fame Award. Rick Alloway, thank you very much. I appreciate you being here.
My pleasure to be here with you, Jerry. Our friendship goes back about that same amount of time.
It does.
We met in the KFOR Explorers Post.
That's right.
Back in the early 1970s, back when exploring was still a thing with the Scouts. I don't think that's a branch of the Scouts anymore.
I don't think it is.
But
No.
KFOR had an Explorer Post and invited high school students interested in radio to come up once a week and hang out with their professional staff, and a kid from Southeast met a kid from Northeast, and we've been friends ever since.
Yeah, that's right. We've been involved in lots of things over the years, and
We have.
maybe we'll show a few of those pictures as we move along throughout the program. And again, it's both radio and television. We're going to talk about radio today. You've agreed to come back another time, and we'll talk about television.
Sure.
I'd be remiss if I didn't congratulate you on your election into the Broadcasters Hall of Fame. So congratulations on that. I know you don't like to talk a lot about yourself, but you're coming in with a couple of very, very nice gentlemen.
Absolutely. It is a class that will include Neil Nelkin, who you and I have both worked with over several decades, a fixture in Omaha radio, but also worked in Lincoln at KLIN for a while, but then has worked with the NRG chain up in the Omaha area. And then Gary Kerr, longtime anchor man for Channel 6, who you and I both grew up watching anchor the news for Channel 6. So I am humbled to be in their presence and their company.
Wonderful. Let's talk about radio. Our audience certainly will remember a different kind of radio than we are experiencing today. Let's talk a little bit about the history of radio, and then sort of where we've gotten to today, and talk a little bit about where we think the future is going. We grew up, there were pretty much just a few radio stations that controlled the market. We had KFOR, we had KLMS, we had KLIN, and there was a country station for a while, KECK. People might remember that. I had the great opportunity to work at KECK Radio when I was going to the university. But that was pretty much it in those days, and they all had kind of a different format that they were following.
Right, and part of that was because the rules at the time from the Federal Communications Commission pretty strictly limited the number of stations that any one broadcast owner could have in one time. And broadcast ownership was limited to a total of 8 stations over 4 markets, 1 AM and 1 FM in each market. And so you didn't have this proliferation of stations, and then of the feeding frenzy of ownership that came with the Telecommunications Act back in 1996, which basically took the gloves off of how many stations people could own. So there wasn't the incentive or even the opportunity to develop lots of different stations back at that time. They were all locally owned for the most part, and so you had one owner of KFOR, and you had somebody else owning KLIN, and somebody else owning KLMS. This was before the days of public broadcast influence here in the city as well. So the listening audience was pretty limited until sundown, when if you had a decent radio, you could pick up some signals from Chicago or Oklahoma City or Minneapolis or Denver.
Right. And again, KFOR was sort of more easy listening. It had a really great news service. KLIN had a nice news operation, as did KLMS, but KLMS really made their fame by playing top 40 rock and roll.
Yeah, I don't think people realize what an outstanding top 40 station KLMS was, and that there were a number of top 40 announcers who started their careers at KLMS who went on to work in major markets in the Southern California radio markets, that was the place to be if you were in top 40, was LA or San Diego, but also in Chicago and Minneapolis and New York. There were some people who became very famous in the top 40 radio business who worked at one time or another at KLMS, including some folks who were born right here in Lincoln and made their careers there. So it was a great legacy set of call letters to work for, as was KOIL in Omaha.
Right. It was a real interesting scenario, and we want to talk about the sports broadcasting in Lincoln as well, and how that has changed pretty dramatically on the radio side. But KFOR and KLIN both had pretty top quality sports play-by-play people, and they covered the high school games. But when the games were over, they all went out to the tower at KLMS out on 84th and whatever it was, and the jock would come outside, and the team that won would sort of cheer and do all of that. It was an interesting concept.
Interesting dynamic at the time, certainly. There were a lot of things I look back on fondly from having listened to them as kids. I know you did too. Some of those great opportunities like that faded. KFOR used to have for years a big red breakfast every Saturday morning at a local hotel, and it was always at the hotel where the visiting team and their fans would stay. So they'd all come down to breakfast on Saturday morning, and the coaches would all be there, and the pep band would be there, and they'd do a live broadcast for 2 or 3 hours. Just a great sense of goodwill between teams and in between stations. It was a friendly rivalry, but the play-by-play folks all knew each other. The crews all knew each other. If you got to a game site and you were missing a cable, the other station would loan you one. It wasn't the cutthroat kind of nature that it was in some of the bigger markets.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about the music, because that was really a place where you and I heard all the new music, the latest song by the Beatles or Herman's Hermits or whoever it was. It came on AM radio.
Yeah, radio was really the dominant place where people heard about new music and new groups, and it was the reason why the record labels were so fixated with getting radio airplay, and that led to some well-publicized scandals where there was some pay-for-play, payola kinds of things that Congress actually had to step in and shut down. But radio airplay was considered necessary for acts to establish a reputation and drive radio or to drive record sales, and that has changed dramatically over the last few years.
Let's talk a little bit about the sports broadcasting, because I think that's interesting, and it has changed so dramatically. We just heard that the university has signed a new contract with somebody for millions of dollars out of California to broadcast the games. But there was a time, even 60s, 70s, maybe even into the 80s, where there were 5 different stations that were covering Nebraska football and doing play-by-play on all the games.
Indeed. KFOR and KLIN both had network affiliations that covered 30 to 40 different stations all across the United States, including across the state of Nebraska, but had several affiliates in California and elsewhere where there were large enclaves of alums who wanted to hear the games. KFAB in Omaha didn't need a network because they were such a powerful station. They can be heard across most of the U.S. without a network. But WOW also originated Husker games for a number of years, as did the station where I now work, and you and I cut our teeth as students, which was KRNU at the university. So yes, you're right. At one time there were 5 originations covering Nebraska football, and that got to be an issue in several stadiums where there weren't enough booths to cover 5 broadcast crews coming in. And eventually Nebraska got, I guess, wooed by the siren song of the big dollars that went along with having one affiliate that would bid for it and take it over. And so we lost that multiplicity of originating stations in the mid-1980s.
Yeah, there were some really, really top quality announcers too. Joe Patrick, KLIN was always associated with sports director at KOLN TV. Dick Perry for a long, long time was at KFOR, and of course KFAB had Lyle Bremser, and then Kent Pavelka after that. So really interesting how that has all changed.
Yep, Don Gill at KLIN did that for a lot of years, but yeah, there were guys here, and Tim Moreland, who recently just passed away, I found out, passed away at age 75 a couple of months ago. There were a stable of good announcers. Nobody in the country had not heard of Lyle Bremser. I mean, everybody knew who he was. He was the dean of all of them.
Let's talk about how things changed a little bit when FM, and in particular a couple of stations, KFRX, associated with KFOR, Top 40, and KFMQ.
KFMQ was really the gold standard, and at one point had, if memory serves me correctly, had one of the highest CUME ratings, meaning there were people that were tuning in at least once during a rating period, of any classic rock. It was a progressive rock station when it went on the air, of any station in the United States. It was a juggernaut of a radio station to listen to, and set the standard for a lot of other, what were at the time called progressive rock stations. Now they're classic rockers,
right,
because they're now playing the same stuff they played
right,
back when they signed on in
right,
the 70s. But it's such a contrast to the shouting, fast-talking folks from Top 40 AM radio. You had the very laid-back progressive
very
guys,
much so. Right. And interesting that a couple of these calls, KLMS and KFMQ, are no longer. I mean, life has changed pretty dramatically as we have moved into the year 2022. We now have music services out there like Spotify, or you can get music on YouTube. We have podcasts. We have now satellite radio. All kinds of things have changed from what we knew.
And radio is no longer the dominant way that people find out about new music. And that has caused some friction between the music industry and the radio industry in terms of how much they should pay for royalties and rights to play the music. And that's an ongoing negotiation between the record industry and the music industry and the broadcast industry. But certainly there are online services like the ones you've mentioned, predominantly Spotify, but also Apple Music and others, that have become the new way that people find out about music largely because of the recommendation function they have, where they'll say, if you like this, here are 5 other tracks you might also like. And the ability to listen to songs when you want without having to just turn on the station and hope that you'll hear the song you want to hear sometime during the time you have allotted to listen, along with all the commercials and everything else that you really don't want to listen to if you're an average music listener. So that's challenged radio from the kind that you and I grew up working in to figure out how to compete with that.
Yeah, the FM station's still in town, still lots of music stations. They're playing country, they're playing the classic rock. There's still some kind of top 40 stations that are around. The AM stations, one of the AMs is sports talk. The other 2 are all talk for the most part, except for a little bit of local in the morning show. Very conservative talk radio. That seems to be the one that is most popular. Where do you think we're going in the radio business? I mean, if you were going to prognosticate and look down the road, where are we headed?
Nothing I like more than prognosticating. The challenge becomes keeping a new, younger audience intrigued with the concept of terrestrial radio, over the air from a transmitter to a receiver. And the demographics of broadcast radio, particularly on the AM side, are frightening. We're down to like average age of 75. That's tough. So they know that talk radio is inexpensive to produce. It does tend to draw fairly large audiences, but it's not where a younger generation is going to. The challenge to bring younger people to radio is really a tough one, because they're just not attuned to the idea of listening for long periods to maybe hear what they want to hear. They are addicted to building their own playlists, being able to listen to their music on demand, just what they want and nothing else.
And things have changed pretty much in terms of ownership. Federal regulations made it a little easier to own multiple stations.
Indeed, yeah. I mentioned the Telecommunications Act of 1996 that basically took all the limits off. In terms of total numbers, now it's based on how many you own in a particular market and the size of the market. So you have folks that own 1,000 radio stations, and I don't think it's been good for the industry.
Rick, we're out of time. I knew it was going to go fast, but
I'm shocked.
Yes, I know. Thanks for coming by, talking about radio. You're going to come back. We're going to talk about television the next time, because life has certainly changed in the broadcasting side for television as well. So thanks for stopping by today.
Look forward to it.
And thank all of you for tuning in today. I'm your host, Jerry Renaud. It's been a pleasure to be with you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and remember, it's never too late to live and learn.